Well, I'm now joined on Skype live from Russia by Professor Alex Mezyaev. He is the head of the Department of International Law in the University of Management, as well as an editor-in-chief of Kazan Journal of International Law and International Relations. Professor, a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. What do you make of the argument that was given by South Africa in the ICC hearing today, saying the order to arrest al-Bashir was just simply not clear?
Yes, I think in that Professor Ladi made a very good argument. He said that international law is not obliged South Africa to arrest a sitting head of state. I understand why this argument was received with some doubts, because ICC all these years claimed that South Africa obliged to arrest any head of state that ICC want. But to resolve this matter, we need not just to listen to ICC, but look at the text of the Rome Statute itself. And when we will do it, the Article 27 says very clearly that, and I'm citing, the Rome Statute should apply equally to all persons without any distinctions based on official capacity, in particular, official capacity of as a head of state or government. But if we look carefully at what this article says, we will realize that this article regulates relations between the court on one side and the accused on another side. This article does not regulate obligation of states. And that's why Professor Ladi very, very correct, saying that nothing in international law obliges you to arrest a sitting head of state. But ICC is insisting on its own interpretation, and as we see, that there is no base for such an interpretation. It's very clear that this article is not regulating states' relations or state obligations. It's only person as accused and the court. And that's why I think South Africa is right when it decided to withdraw from ICC, because ICC is demonstrating the incorrect, clearly, and let me say sharply incorrect interpretation. Maybe there are much more reasons for South Africa to withdraw, but this situation is clear base for South Africa to withdraw, as legal as well as political.
So where does the United Nations resolution come into this, Professor Mezyaev? Perhaps you can clarify this for us, because one of the arguments that we heard today was that the UN resolution did not put a waiver for a head of state in Africa, particularly in this case, Omar al-Bashir, to be arrested should he come to South Africa. That's a Rome statute. How do the relationships work with the ICC and the United Nations resolution?
Well, United Nations resolutions have only political force. The UN resolution doesn't have legal force if it's a General Assembly. If it concerns the Security Council resolution, it's again the resolution of completely different organization. It's not binding legally. Until South Africa agree, according to international law, to certain obligations. But I would like to suggest you to be quite frank of what is going these last 2 years between South Africa and ICC. ICC is not only legal institution, or rather it's not legal, it's mostly political institution with some legal decorations. And when the ICC judge, not even ICC as a court, because that decision was taken only by one single judge. When that judge, Judge Tarfusa, ordered South Africa to arrest President of Sudan, let me tell you honestly, that was not about Sudan. That was about South Africa. Because no judge in the world could believe that South African government would violate international law so frankly. In my opinion, it was a clear intention to destabilize the internal situation in South Africa. And this is, in my opinion, the main reason why South Africa and all other states should withdraw from ICC. Because this is not a court. This is a political institution of regime change. So when we are talking about al-Bashir case, in fact, it is a case against South Africa from the beginning, not only now.
Professor, we have to leave it there. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. We certainly appreciate your insight into this matter. Professor Alex Mezyaev, they're coming to us live from Russia via Skype.